What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the show. It's your host with the most, sendesdhaiti, back with another video. Today we're going to go into technology, folks. Technology is changing the world as we speak today in real time, with AI becoming a massive focus in government all over the world. We're starting to see a shift from manual machines where people are involved to automatic machines, autonomous machines that do the jobs by themselves. And trucking is no exception. Today we're going to be going into the trucking industry and how they're making changes with AI. But before that, let's introduce ourselves, shall we? You're watching the Get Up Show.
Side, no one at the wheel as it barrels down the road. Massive freight trucks designed to drive all on their own.
We're talking about trucks that do not have any drivers doing operations on a daily basis across the nation.
Badam Narang is CEO of Gatik, the first company to employ driverless freight trucks on U.S. public roads with no human safety driver in the cab. They're already hauling freight for major grocery chains and retailers in Texas, Arkansas, and Arizona. The goal? To increase deliveries and lower costs.
You and I, as end consumers, we want our orders as soon as possible, as cheap as possible. So our trucks are working day and night.
You say these trucks make things cheaper and faster, but for someone driving in a car to look up and see a big truck like this with no one behind the wheel, how is that safe?
Safety is foundational to everything that we do at Gatik.
We first showed you the technology in 2020.
Alright, I'm pretty sure that was clipped, but a lot of these CEOs never want to address the safety part of this because with a lot of the issues with especially the Waymo cars, the self-driving Waymo cars, where they allow people to just hop into these driverless cars with no steering wheel and, drive them to where they're going, the automatic Uber, some would say. But when it comes down to things like this, I feel like it makes more sense, right? Have it be an autonomous vehicle for long distance travel, because a lot of accidents do happen because of drivers not being able to stay awake, You have to drive a very long trip, so you're going to need to sleep, but it's hard to do that if you still have like 1,000 more miles to go, But something like this makes sense. But there's an obvious safety precaution with it. Like, no one wants to look over, like this woman said, and see a driverless freight carrying thousands of pounds of material going 80 miles an hour on the freeway. Like, nobody wants to see that. So how are these companies going to ensure that the safety is their number one priority, not just the profit? I'm not trying to see lives lost because of stuff like this.
21.
I'm here in Arkansas for an exclusive look.
When the company deployed smaller self-driving trucks for Walmart, capable of driving up to 10 miles per route. Now, Gatik's trucks travel up to 400 miles, handling middle-mile deliveries between warehouses and stores completely autonomously. To see for ourselves, we got an exclusive ride-along with Apeksha Kamavat, Gatik's co-founder and chief engineer.
Here we go.
She says high-tech cameras and sensors give the truck a 360-degree view of its surroundings, guiding it safely through any situation on the road.
Again, I've mentioned this before. This is the natural progression of machinery, right? Let's figure out how to do the job more efficiently, quicker, faster, stronger, better. But then the next step of that is, how do we do this same thing with somebody not having to be there? People get tired. People want raises. People don't want to work at times. They're scrolling on their phone, People are sleeping at the wheel. People are taking breaks. These robots don't have to do that. And granted, right now it's only for middle mile, which is like 500 to 1,000 miles, I think. But, or maybe like 200 to 500 miles or something like that. And then long haul after that is driver, But that is the natural progression of things. And it does make things better. Now, what I would ideally want is still to be a driver there, just monitoring the automatic system. So they technically don't have to be awake all the time. They can sleep while the truck is moving, But they're just there to make sure, okay, if the truck starts veering into traffic head on, that they can make the correction right then and there. That is what AI is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a tool, right? You're supposed to have somebody there, whereas the AI just assists, and then you can put it in the autopilot mode, and where you have it just driving on its own. That is what it's supposed to be, not just completely automatic. For safety, I'm not saying that's what it's supposed to be for the best use case of AI, but for safety, you need an operator, for an automatic system. We have warehouses today where the entire warehouse is automatic, but you still need operators there for when the system goes wrong, when the system crashes. I just started this new job, right, where it's like a flour mill. And yes, the entire process is automated, from the milling of the wheat to the packaging of the flour. And it stops frequently due to errors, due to one belt going quicker than the other, due to one belt going slower than the other, apparently in this case, due to plastic getting caught on each other because of that belt. And now the entire line is stopped. So what if something like this happens for this, right? Where the computer freezes. Like, do you know how often computers freeze? No one wants to see a computer freeze going 80 miles an hour with 10,000, 50,000 pounds of freight locked inside of it. No one wants to see that, all right? So there needs to be an operator in these cabs. They don't have to be driving, right? Because that's the point of the AI, driverless. But they need to be there to make sure that these systems are looked over,
Day or night, rain or shine.
The truck sees all of that information in real time, creates an understanding of what the world looks like right now, how it will evolve.
I watched as the truck navigated highways and heavy traffic.
Whoa, I gotta say, that was a pretty...
And at the end of the day, multiple sensors is much better than just one person looking out for whatever incoming traffic is coming their way. Multiple sensors. It's very efficient. It works. I know it works. It works. All I'm saying is there needs to be a safety factor in mind of having somebody there, There needs to be.
It's driving a bit...
Yeah, I understand you can put profits first. You can make an extra 600 million a year. Yeah, sure. But lives can be lost, bro. If this thing goes wrong, lives can be lost. And just with that in mind, you should just have at least one person there, making hourly salary, whatever. That's going to cost you like an extra 60,000 a year. What? Like, that's nothing. An extra 100,000 for a CDL driver, bro. Come on, bro.
Turkey, but Kamavat says it's designed for safety, not comfort.
So if someone had run that red light,
We would have been...
even though we had a green light, this
Yes.
truck would know not to go?
Exactly.
After millions of testing miles, Gaddick says it's...
Yeah, and honestly, that's a good point. These automatic systems expect for the things to go right every time, right? But what happens if someone just cuts it off? A freaking truck, a semi-truck, somebody just runs along the road. What is it going to do? Is it going to veer off? A giant truck with 50,000 pounds, 10,000 pounds in it? Or is it going to stop, slow down? How is a truck like that going to stop in such short of a time? Will it be expecting somebody to cross if they see a pedestrian, so it slows down automatically before the person crosses? That makes sense, right? And if it's stuff like that, okay, you can make it work, but I still believe there should be an operator here, you know, because at the end of the day, you don't want a life lost, not just a lawsuit, bro. You don't want somebody to just get offed by an automatic truck when it could have been prevented.
Trucks haven't had a single safety incident, something we confirmed with federal and state regulators. With 10 trucks now on the road and several hundred expected by year's end, the company says it's secured $600 million in contracts.
What about the very real concerns that this is taking away jobs from human truck drivers?
They don't care. Like, they really don't. They don't care that it's taking away jobs. But honestly, that's the world we're going into. You have to find what works for you in this world, you know. But that's going to be the show for today, folks. I hope you all enjoyed. I'd like for you all to like the video because I'll give you only one more time to do it. And last but not least, I'd like to play a few messages for us from our sponsors before we go. Believe it or not, most of my videos were edited using this Clipper AI. And with just a few clicks, you could turn your video filled with awkward silence into a single video without them. Adjust the parameters to get a quick and effective way to speed up your editing workflow at videoclipperai.com. Testing out the Video Clipper AI. The Video Clipper AI is going to cut out all the silent parts from the video. So that is the show, ladies and gentlemen. Like the video, get us up to 2,000 subs. And we out of here. Later.